Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, I got two stories about the cruise lines pushing back against government regulations happening in different areas of the world. And then I want to talk to you about a thing that some people just assume is correct until they look into it. And if you don't look into it and you're wrong, you could lose thousands upon thousands of dollars, if not more. So we have some more controversy happening in Australia and New Zealand. So in New Zealand is now being slammed by the cruise industry, in particular the CLIA, the Cruise Line International Association, and the Australian Cruise Line Association out there as well, because they just announced that they're going to raise the port fees and taxes on cruise passengers by 85% on December 1st. 85% increase all at once. Bam, here you go. This year. The trouble with that is cruise lines plan and budget years in advance. So what's happening right now is they're going to have to pass that on to us. Well, they can't. They can't pass that money on to us. They can't spread it out. They can't find money-saving areas other places not to charge us because it's coming up too soon. And many people already paid for their cruise next year or already booked it and reserved it at a certain price, which means the cruise lines are going to have to basically suck it up and take all that money, and you're going to say right away, well, they make millions and billions of dollars, they can afford to take on the money. Remember, Australia is also one of the most expensive places to run the cruise operations from. And that's one of the reasons that it's down 22% this year and expected to drop again next year. And now with this new tax in New Zealand and places like Philippines saying, hey, you don't even need a visa to come here anymore. Come on in. Well, you just might see even more cruise ships leaving now and changing the itineraries all next year because of this move by New Zealand. An 85% increase in the tax in one shot. I know if somebody came up to you and said, you know what, your income tax, we're going to raise it 85%. Or if you pay a provincial sales tax and they came up to you and say, you know what, we're going to raise it 85%. I'm pretty sure you would not be happy. And just because it's a business and it makes money doesn't mean it doesn't have to plan for expenses ahead of time. And just throwing something out there by the government all of a sudden with no warning can really cause havoc with it. And the people who are going to suffer will probably be the people trying to sail from Australia and New Zealand, as the cruise lines will just say, too expensive. We're just going to slow down and maybe not come here as often as we would like. Another place that may be coming into that fold now is Spain. As Barcelona, the mayor of Barcelona has taken a brave step against tourism. And how does governments solve any problem that they have? Any problem. Housing problem, we'll do this. Food problem, we're going to do this. Environmental problem, we're going to do this. Cruise ship problem, we're going to do this. They're going to raise taxes. That's right. They're going to raise the taxes on the cruise ship because they have no other solutions in the world to work with. Governments love to introduce new taxes, and it doesn't matter where you are, but I found this one in particularly funny that just now they're having all these protests on tourism. So hey, good time to introduce a tax. Everyone will like us that we introduce this tax. And the tax isn't going to tourism. It isn't going for infrastructure. It isn't going to go for repairing roads and things like that. They say, you know what? We think that tourists should be paying for things like air conditioning in our schools. Well, if that's the case, and they're going to pay for air conditioning in their schools with the taxes they're raising from tourism, that basically they're just throwing it into a melting pot and using it for whatever they want to do. Is it going to put air conditioning into your schools? Maybe. Or maybe it's just going to go into that big government pot where they can do what they want. Yeah, it's just another thing that, hey, how do we do it? Raise taxes. Every government in the world. Unbelievable. Well, I also have a warning to give to people out there because so many people think this is a true fact and you hear me basically talk about it all the time. One of my #1 tips to everybody is what? Make sure you have travel insurance when you're traveling. Because if the worst happens and you have to be medically airlifted off your cruise, it can be devastating if you don't have insurance on how much this will cost you. And some people have said, well, my credit card has evacuation insurance. I said, that's good. How much? And they said, well, what do you mean? They have evacuation. It's going to cover the evacuation no matter what it is. I said, check how much it is. Because it's different on every card. It's different if you have a regular Visa or if you have a Diamond Visa or a Platinum. Same thing if you have an American Express Black card, completely different from a regular Air Miles card with American Express. And one passenger in particular looked it up and said, wow, they were shocked because their entire evacuation insurance was $5,000. Well, that's okay if it's going to just bring you to the hospital in the, near the city that you're at and you're getting off and into an ambulance and away you go. But if they have to send a helicopter, if they have to hire a nurse and a plane to fly you back to Canada, the United States, the UK, whatever it may be, there's no way $5,000 is going to cover the expense it would cost. I've seen bills of insurance as high as $80,000 on long flight distances. For like people who were in Asia and had to fly back to the States, $80,000. Do you have $80,000? I don't have $80,000. It can bankrupt you. And $5,000, guess what? That probably wouldn't even cover you being in the Caribbean, having to be airlifted into Mexico. Just an FYI. So if you think automatically your credit cards got enough insurance, please read exactly what the policy says and how much you actually have. And that goes for your insurance through your work, that goes for insurance through your bank, anything like that. If you think you're covered medically, you may be covered medically for a hospital visit. But that doesn't mean you're covered for evacuation and the expense of a helicopter or even the Coast Guard coming out to rescue you in foreign countries. Just please double check it. Like I said, it can be absolutely devastating. And hey, what do you think? How would you like to get an 83% tax bill increase all at one time? Only governments could ever do something like that. Isn't that crazy? Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.